Well, we just couldn't have a better Super Bowl matchup than this, could we? The New England Patriots, the Belichick-Brady Patriots, probably the gold standard for success in the NFL over the past 15 years. They're looking for their fourth Super Bowl ring, but first in 10 years. This is probably Brady's last best chance. Facing the Seattle Seahawks, the bully of the NFL, the Seahawks with the best defense maybe in the history of the NFL. They've now led the league in both yards allowed and points allowed in back-to-back seasons. First time that has happened in over 40 years. You recall last year's Super Bowl, Seahawks faced a Denver offense that had set many NFL records, including breaking the NFL record for points scored in a season, and the Seahawks totally embarrassed the Broncos, holding them to just 8 points. So this is truly an all-time great quarterback facing an all-time great defense. The line is pick 'em at BETDAQ. Only a money line market being offered. 47 is the total. And I'll tell you one thing. Anybody tells you they know what's going to happen this Sunday is a liar. This should be a very competitive game. Both teams very capable of winning. Obviously, the marquee matchup, the New England offense against the Seattle defense. We just talked about this Seattle defense. So good, and they have been playing especially well in their past 8 games. As a matter of fact, the Seahawks have surrendered just 23 combined second-half points in their last 8 games. They've won all 8 of those games, 7-1 against the spread. Last year, like we said, they totally dominated the Denver offense. The Broncos unable to move the ball. I don't think they're going to have quite the same level of success this year against the New England Patriots. For one thing, the Patriots very good on offense. They averaged nearly 30 points per game this season. They've been even better in the playoffs. They have scored 80 combined points in their 2 playoff games. They're also very balanced. Of course, Tom Brady can beat you, but the Patriots can run the ball as well. And when you look at this Seattle defense, yes, they've been great this season, but when they've faced offenses that could be considered elite, the Seahawks have only been good on defense. In 5 games against Denver, San Diego, Dallas, and 2 games against Green Bay, the Seahawks surrendered 23.6 points per game, and that's just about what I expect out of them in this game. I think New England's going to score 20 to 24 points here. So to me, the question is, will the Seattle offense be able to keep up? Because the under-the-radar storyline here is just how good the New England defense has been this season. The Patriots surrendered just 19.6 points per game. They were top 10 against the run, and they're coming off their best defensive performance of the season. In the AFC Championship game, they faced the 3rd-ranked Indianapolis offense, a unit that led the NFL in pass yards per game, 3rd in total yards per game, and the Patriots shut down the Colts, holding them to just 7 points and 206 total yards. You look at this Seattle offense, they are not Indianapolis. They're not that good. Now, they do run the ball much better than the Colts. The Seahawks, number 1 in the NFL in rush yards per game. They're averaging over 170 yards per game on the ground. Marshawn Lynch ran wild in the NFC Championship game. But the Seahawks are one-dimensional on that side of the ball. Just 28th in pass yards per game. Not a whole lot in terms of pass-catching talent. I know that's Doug Baldwin takes that personally, but fact of the matter is Doug Baldwin probably wouldn't see the field for a team like Denver, and he is Seattle's best wide receiver. That is why the Seahawks, as we said, 28th in pass yards per game this season. Russell Wilson struggled in the NFC Championship game, and he fumbled 11 times this season, though miraculously he did not lose a single one. Still, if New England is able to slow down Marshawn Lynch, now that is a big if. As we said, the Seahawks led the NFL in rush yards per game this season, and even though the Patriots were good against the run, they were 9th against the run, there were certainly games in which they did not do very well stopping the run. Their 2 games against the New York Jets come to mind. The Jets can generously be called a poor man's Seattle Seahawks. They try to win with defense in the power running game just like the Seahawks. Only difference is the Seahawks, again, one of the best teams in the NFL, and Jets were 4-12 this season. But the teams are similar stylistically, and the Jets ran for 334 combined yards in their 2 games against New England. So if you're a New England fan or New England bettor, that is your main concern. Will Marshawn Lynch and the Seahawks just run right over this Patriots defense? I don't think that's going to happen. Listen, the Patriots have had an extra week to prepare here. They saw last week or 2 weeks ago in the NFC Championship game, Green Bay was able to hold up pretty nicely against that running game for about 2.5 quarters, and Green Bay was not good against the run this season. They were 23rd in rushing defense. The Patriots much better in that area. Now, we saw in that game that if you do slow down Lynch and the Seahawks rushing attack, the Seahawks offense becomes very ordinary as they were against the Packers. So look, I do lean towards New England in this situation. Now, I do have a little bit of extra incentive here. The Patriots were my preseason pick to win the Super Bowl. We recommended them here on BETDAQ Tips, and I got in at 9-1. So I'm already involved. I see no reason to back out now. That being said, would it surprise me if Seattle won this game? No, it would not surprise me at all. I think this is going to be a very competitive game. Anything could happen, but I'm going with the Patriots. I'm also going with under 47. Enjoy the game, folks. I know I will.